I'm Nikki Bon, new mom, comedian, and I am here to warn you that the first night at home is fucked with a newborn. I did it. I had the kid. I could tell you the whole story, which maybe I will one day, but my biggest thing I want to talk about, the most important thing, is how fucked the first night is back at home with the kid. I didn't expect it. In the hospital, you can let the kid go to the nursery, which I did. Some people are like, no, the baby needs to be with you. I'm like, no, I just went through labor for many hours. I haven't slept in what feels, 36 hours. And now I would like a little bit of sleep, because if I don't have the sleep, I'm going to lose my mind. Then the next day in the hospital, he was up a bunch. That's okay. But when you get home, when I tell you the monster comes out and nobody warns you, everybody talks about cluster feeding, how the baby feeds every hour. Now, back at home, it happens, and it doesn't last just one night, it lasts 3. So this is what I experienced the first night, and maybe a lot of you have as well, or you're going to. At 6 p.m., feeding him, trying to get him down, was a challenge. He screamed a lot. Okay, it's gas. He didn't really have gas in the hospital. I don't really know how to deal with gas. So we got through that. I sat him up, he burped, great. Then we go to bed. I wake up at like 1 a.m. to him eating his fists and twitching back and forth. And, Now, I am a hypochondriac, but I was like, this kid is having a seizure. I don't know what to do. Like, I've never seen him like this. Granted, I've only known him for 2 days, but I've never seen this behavior. He's always been like, I'm a nice little guy in my little swaddle. He got out of his swaddle and he's eating his fist and he's back and forth. And I'm like, he's dying. He's having a seizure. My kid has seizures. That's okay. But like, I don't know how to deal with it. And I pick him up and he won't open his eyes. And every other time I picked him up, he's opened his eyes. Once again, it's been 2 days. But every other time in the last 48 hours, he's opened his eyes. And now he's not opening his eyes. And I was holding him to my husband. I said, he's not opening his eyes. He's not opening his eyes. I don't know what's going on. Well, it turns out I think it was a cluster feed. And I had no idea. So he was screaming and crying. And I tried to feed him. And he took some food, but it still wasn't enough. And I just truly thought the cluster feeding was done, because that's what the hospital, it's not their fault, but they said it was night 2 is cluster. So I didn't consider that this was the actual answer. Took him into the living room, bounced him around for an hour, and did my normal thing, which is my favorite trick right now, is I go, close to his ear. There's something about the that calms him down. So that would calm him down a little bit, and then all of a sudden he would erupt. We did this for about an hour and it didn't stop. And I finally, for the first time, started crying. I haven't cried yet. I thought I'd be crying this whole entire time because I am a mess when I don't sleep. But I finally had a breakdown of just tears of like, I don't know what's going on. I'm so scared. How do I deal with this? This is too much. Then fed him again, even more, and then he finally went to sleep. But that was about 2 hours of rocking him back and forth, plus another 40 minutes of feeding him, to then get no sleep. And put him to bed, and then he woke up another hour and did the same thing over again. So I did not know that this was going to be the first night. I know they always say the first month is really hard, but could you specify what's hard about it? Another thing I didn't know, because, okay, I'm not the best at reading, and my husband has read everything, but the one page we missed was that we can use a soother. The hospital did not offer me a soother. When he would have his freakouts, they didn't say, yes, you can use a soother. So we didn't. I figured, and granted, I did say, like, my dad, anybody else, when they get frustrated with their significant other, they call them their parents' names. I mean, I'm not frustrated with him. My husband is killing it. But he told me that we can't use a soother until like week 2 or 3. So I was just holding out. Truth is, you can use a soother right away, and it is the savior, because what was happening was Milo was eating, and then chill, and then, So I would just put him on my boob, and he was just sucking on the nip, just chomping on it, not for food, but for comfort. And I was like, I can't have this guy stretching out my nips all the time. And how long am I going to be just letting him suck on the nip? And the nurse told me not to do that. So I don't know how to soothe him. Well, then I found out you can use a soother, and that's what people do. And they give them a soother when after the feeding, and then they go to bed. So there's a hot tip for you. The other hot tip is if they are crying all the time, it's just cluster feeding. Just keep feeding them. Another hot tip is, and these are hot tips from my friend Alexa, these aren't hot tips that I have come up with, by the way. I don't know breastfeeding and formula, the whole big deal about it. I'm doing both. I'm doing mostly breast, and then I pump, and I'll give them bottle breast, blah, blah, blah. But formula tops them off. So I then would give him the breast milk. If he was still cluster feeding, then I would give him a little bit of formula to fill him up. That also worked too. And then besides the crying and cluster feeding when you're home, and then now the burping and the gas and not knowing the signs of gas and if he's in pain or if he's dying and how do I know if he's dying, and then checking if he's breathing all the time, my boobs got huge and hard like this. It's like I left the hospital and my boobs were like, oh, we're free now, we're gonna fuck you over. And they just blew up, were hard as fuck, so painful. The lactation specialist didn't warn me about this either. I didn't know that I was going to come out and my boobs were going to blow up and be really, really hard. I just thought that what I had in the hospital was what was going to happen. So I come home and then they're really, really hard. I'm like, is this normal? Is this normal? I don't have a pump because my health insurance sucks. And they were giving us the whole runaround about getting a fucking pump. So I had to use the hand pump, okay? The hand pump isn't that bad, but when you got the milkies, it's too much. It's too much hand pumping. Now your hand's in pain. You got carpal tunnel. It's a whole spiral. So my friend lent me her pump. I love it. It does the trick. Thank God. But if I had to buy a pump, it was going to be like $400. When you're like a medium lower income family, the $400 for a pump is so much money that I would have just probably hand pumped the whole time. Along with that, the bleeding, which we're not going to get into because like maybe there's some guys that want to watch this because they want to see like we have a mental breakdown, but the whole body changing thing, along with being like, are you dying or am I dying? Is this normal? Am I going to get an infection? Do you have an infection? What is that thing in your eye? It's all a lot on the first night, and you don't sleep, and the mental breakdown happened. And then my hormones kicked in. They hadn't kicked in yet. Everything is falling to pieces. It's fine, but I'm crumbling. The last thing that I didn't realize was that my bladder wouldn't work for a little bit. Now I know that when you give birth, people say, you're going to pee your pants a lot. But I thought that was like when I was pregnant, like when I sneeze and pee a little bit, or when I laugh, or like, I have to pee. I peed my pants in Target because I didn't make it in time, but at least I like had the capacity to really hold it in until the breaking point. This is a whole other situation. This is like, I have absolutely no control. If my body wants to do it, it's going to do it. And I'm here to tell you that Depends don't work. I thought they were adult diapers. They are made for adults to pee and poo their pants. Is that not what they're for? And these poor old people are using Depends in homes, and they don't actually work. On the way back from the hospital, we're walking down my hallway. I'm about 10 steps away from my apartment, and all of a sudden, I can feel I have to pee. So I cross my legs because I know that if I uncross them, shit's going to happen. So I was like, oh God, I'm going to pee. And then I was kind of tiptoeing, like trying to keep it in. And then I thought, I'm in Depends. So like, who cares? And I said that to my husband. I was like, oh yeah, I'm wearing diapers. I'll just let her rip. So I start to walk and it comes out and I'm like, it's just Depends. And then all of a sudden it starts to go down my leg. And now it's going down my sweatpants so rapidly. I've lost all control of my bladder. It's a full-on, like, I'm on the toilet pee, but I'm not. And now I'm starting to laugh, and I'm yelling at my husband going, Depends don't work. They don't work. And I'm laughing. So now the waterfall's happening more. And it was so bad that I had to take my shoes off in the middle of the hallway so that I didn't piss into my fucking shoes. They don't work. These poor people that wear them and can't control their bladder, like a person who just gave birth, they're old, they have enough to deal with besides not being able to depend on Depends to keep their urine in. Why aren't we talking about this? It's called Depends. I am depending on you to not let me piss my pants. And that didn't work. So now what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to wear 2, 3? I just feel bad for these old people. Somebody needs to invent an actual diaper that works. So I full on peed my pants. And I'm to be honest, I'm somebody that like has always peed their pants when I laugh too much and stuff like this. But when I think I'm in a safe space, I think that I'm being supported by a product, and I'm not. And I pretty much peed my pants in public, because if anybody walked out of their apartment, thank God they didn't, they would have seen soaking wet sweatpants, shoes off, socks off, me walking barefoot down the hallway. All right, well, that's my take on night 1. Everybody says it gets better. It's very, very, very hard, and I am tired, and that's what I expected, but I am obsessed with checking if he died. And so this anxiety is going to be a lot. See you next time.